It's time to talk taxes.
New friends, new opportunities, new partners. EG Tax.
It's Ask the Tax Lady with Esther Gulius and EG Tax on News Radio 930 WBEN. To reach Esther now, call 803-0930. Toll free at 1-800-616-9236. And cell calls are free at star 930. And now, live from the WBEN studios, it's Esther Gulius.
Hey, everybody, this is the Tax Lady, and this is our hour to talk taxes and what's happening in your household. Maybe you're getting ready to get your child ready for college. You're wondering about those college credits. Maybe you haven't filed your return. Maybe they're sending you love letters. Whatever. This is our hour to talk taxes, 803-0930, 803-0930, star 930 on a cell phone. And I will tell you, we keep you up to breast on what's happening in the wonderful world of taxes. And joined in studio, I have Tiffany Fabian. Hey, Tiff.
Hey there, Esther.
And Christopher Fabian.
Hello, Esther.
And so 803-0930, 803-0930, star 930 on a cell phone. And they, true to form, changed the law again this week, right, Chris?
Oh, yes, yes. Yeah, why not? That's exactly. They changed due dates, but not for the normal people. Okay, so everybody sitting in their car right now, don't swerve, don't get in an accident.
First thing I saw, I said, "Oh my God, they changed the due dates." Oh, it's going to
We got to work longer. We got to work till June.
Right, no. but they changed due dates on unusual forms.
On partnerships.
Right.
Partnerships, which used to be due on April 15th, are now due on March 15th.
And that's next year.
Yep, so that's starting January 1st, 2016.
So if you have a limited liability partnership or a partnership and you're used to filing your return April the 15th, that is now due March the 15th. And what's especially important is the penalties if you filed late on a partnership.
Yeah, it's $100 a
day
per partner.
Right. So that's a big, gigantic partnership penalty. So if you know anybody that's operating a partnership and they aren't listening to the show, say, "Oh my gosh, I think you guys got to file early next year." Also, what else changed?
The C corporations, not S corporations, but C as in Charlie. They moved from March 15th to April 15th. Right. So the C corps and the partnerships flip-flopped.
Right. So now regular C corporations aren't due till tax time, April 15th. S corps are still due March 15th, right?
Right.
And the other thing is F-bars changed, right?
F-bars that used to be June 1st is now April 15th.
So an F-bar is basically U.S. citizens that have money in a foreign country that exceeds $10,000 at all at any point in time during the year. You have to do this F-bar report. It doesn't make you pay taxes, but it lets the federal government know that you voluntarily given them information regarding all of your holdings outside of the United States. Now, failure to file that, those penalties are astronomical. They just came up with those two the other day, right? And those are how much, Chris?
It can if you just forget. If you just forget, you didn't know $10,000. But if you willfully don't do it, you know they're due. You just say, "I'm done.
Catch me. Let them catch me."
You're looking up to 50% of the highest value.
$100,000 up to 50% of the highest value of the account. So if you're Canadian that is really a dual status, you got to do your F-bar. And EG Tax will help you. Actually, the F-bars for 2014 are due June 1st. But next year, it's going to be April the 15th. So if you need help with your F-bars, or if maybe you're a U.S. citizen living here in the United States and you got income over in Canada, you got to do an F-bar report. The penalties are astronomical. Willful neglect is $100,000 up to half of the value of the account, whichever is greater. So if the account is worth $50,000, they could get you for $25,000. If the account is $600,000, they can get you for $100,000. I mean, that's a lot of money.
Right, and you now can file extensions on those also. So that's one sort of good thing, I guess you could say.
Right.
And Chris was telling me the logic for the C Corps and the partnerships is so that people can get the K1s to do their personal
That's exactly
returns.
right. That's
Yeah.
because everything's getting later, and those of you that are waiting for your investment advisors to send you your 1099s. You know how late everything's getting. Well, I think in an effort to get you your K1 so you can file your tax returns, these S corps and partnership returns are due March 15th.
Not S corps, C corps.
Right? S corps. S corps are due March 15th.
Yes.
C corps are due
April
April 15th.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
Okay, let's go to the phones. Again, 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone. And we have Donna from Orchard Park. Hey, Donna. Hey, how can we help you?
Hello, good afternoon. A different type of question for you today. I'm a guardian to someone who's disabled, and I am told that I can take a guardianship fee from the Supplemental Needs Trust.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been basing it upon time off from work to take, this individual to doctor's appointments or, for whatever personal needs that I handle for them or take them to. What's your advice, and is there record keeping involved? And
Well, I mean, first of all, are they communicative, Donna?
yes.
All right. So really, you're performing a service. So what you needed to communicate with them is how much you feel that your service is worth per hour or per month. And then they would verify that. Now, if you're going into their home and you're not performing this service for anyone besides this one person.
No.
So really, you're working in their home, and they have to pay your FICA. They basically, I think I just lost her. But anyway, so what they need to do is they would have right, she's an employee. And so you come up with what is a fair market value for services rendered. And then it's very simple. If you need help with the wages, we'll help you to do your monthly or biweekly payroll.
Because it sounds like she's doing services above and beyond guardianship fee arrangements. Am I right?
Right. It sounds like she's doing work.
Right.
So it sounds like she's maybe providing medical attention and things of that nature. And so the best thing to do is find out what your services are worth, what you feel like you're entitled to, verify that with the employer,
right?
And then you have to set up a payroll system and a W-2, and everything goes on. Right, Chris?
Yep. That sounds perfect.
Because a guardianship fee, correct me if I'm wrong, is to manage the
funds.
Right, but it sounds like she's performing services.
Right.
I'm Esther Golias, the tax lady from EG Tax. Our phone number is 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone. We're going to take a short break. We'll join you on the other side. Esther Golias, the tax lady from EG Tax. Let's see, I'm just I'm just talking and talking. I forgot I was doing a radio show.
That's all right.
You
Just
were
keep
talking about the economy.
I was talking about how I was with Ron. What is it?
2020?
Yeah, America 2020.
America 2020.
And that whole thing about the collapse of the dollar. So I've been doing a lot of research on that. And basically they said there's three things holding up the dollar. One, that it's international. Number two, that China and Japan are supporting it. Number three, that it's the oil. That's what they trade for oil. But what they've said that the oil people have made rumblings that they don't want to keep the dollar anymore. That China's having a hard time with their own finances, which would kind of leave us vulnerable. So maybe I'm going to buy gold on Monday. And it's only $1,000 an ounce.
And then there's my daughter going la 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 la.
Yeah, well, whatever. I mean, it is a interesting thing. I'm Esther Golias, the tax lady. 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on his cell phone. Want to talk about, before we get to Ray and Dave and all the other callers, education. This being August, this is first day of August. We should be thinking about education, and the education credits are big. And the first thing that you should be aware of, that for the first 4 years of continuing education for higher education. For a dependent, your child would qualify potentially for the
American Opportunity Tax Credit.
righto, Chris. And I said potentially. Now, why not would all children not qualify?
Well, they could have financial aid that pays for the entire ride of college.
Like
so that,
scholarships,
yep,
right?
scholarships or their
Tap and
tap
Pell.
and their Pell.
That's exactly right. So what is important for mom and dad when they're doing the credit, and if it's they're dependent, is that they have to understand that whatever the tuition and fees and books and supplies that were generated, if they were offset by scholarships, TAP and Pell, then only what's left is what's going to qualify for the American Opportunity Tax Credit. But it's a big credit, right, Chris?
Oh, it's up to $2,500. So
Federal and state.
50%.
the federal is the $2,500. State can be $400, up to $400, or even higher if you can use it as an
itemized, right.
itemized deduction. So the federal's $1,500 is a Pac-Man credit, where it just eats up your tax liability, and then you get the $1,000 refundable credit.
Right,
Yeah.
but now if you have two kids in college in the first 4 years of post-secondary education, you can take how many of those, Tiffany?
You can take 2 of those.
Right, well, if you have 3 kids,
You can take 3.
5 kids,
God bless you.
right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it ends up being a gigantic credit, and part of it's refundable.
Yeah, and then I want to say, you talked about a minute ago when you might not get it. I have a lot of divorced parents, and if one year the one parent gets a kid and the other parent does, but the one pays for the college, so sad, too bad if you pay for college and you don't get to claim
Right,
the
if
kid
you're
back.
not claiming the kid, it goes to the other parent,
Right.
right? But in the year that you claim the kid, and then that's the other thing, that first year, let's say that your kid is going to ECC, right? And maybe there's the tuition and fees are $2,500, but you're getting scholarships and credits of maybe $1,500. So there would only be $1,000 that would be out there, right? You may not want to start off that first year with the AOTC, right?
Right.
Because you can only take it for the first 4 years of continuing education. And if your child is going to be in for the next year, the next year, the next year, and the next year, and if the tuition and fees are higher, the credit would be higher. So you may want to go with the lifetime learning credit that first year.
Right, or take the adjustment to income credit, the tuition.
Well,
fees.
I think the
Would be
lifetime,
better.
which would be 20%, right?
Right. Yep.
So you really need to,
And, but most importantly is make sure you claim your kids.
that's right.
Because how many college students do we see that come in, well, I'm claiming myself this year because I work and I'm in college, and well, that's not as simple as it is.
Wouldn't be the best answer.
Correct.
Yeah. Yep. I know that my 21-year-old is started a job, and she's like, "Can't I do on my withholding single and 4 because I don't make much money?" I says, "No, we still claim you, and so you should do 0."
Well, it all depends. Now, if she made less than $3,500, she's going to be 0 on the federal.
Right.
But on the state of New York, anything over $3,000, she's going to owe. So anyway, so the you want to make sure that if your child is under the age of 24, full-time student, first 4 years of continuing education, unless they were gigantically well endowed financially, right? You absolutely are going to want to claim them and take the education credit. First the AOTC, then lifetime learning, and after you've filled up lifetime learning, you go to tuition and fees adjustment, right?
Correct.
And in a couple of weeks, we're going to have a college tuition negotiation specialist on. Right, Chris?
Yep. That's going to be Rob Eimer.
Rob Eimer.
Yep.
And so his job is to help you to negotiate down the tuition and fees that they're charging your child in a private college. He was telling us the other day that you'd be surprised what you can do if you call and say, we'd love to come here, but we can't afford it.
Right. That's so cool, and it makes sense. You when you go get a car, they barter down the price.
That's right. But he says, but everybody says, okay, the tuition's $40,000, and you say, okay,
well, let's get some loans.
right. But so I think you're going to really enjoy Rob Eimer.
Listening to him.
Right. All right. Let's go to the phones, and we talk to Ray and Clarence. Hi, Ray. How can we help you?
Yes, hi. Thank you for taking my call.
Yeah.
Received a strange call on a Saturday. Today.
I know what it was about.
The IRS,
Yeah,
some kind of fraud division?
That's not really the IRS.
They don't call.
It's really Hali Kafali over in Bali Land who's
God.
calling you and faking you out. It's a fraud. I hope you didn't come up with any money, Ray, did you?
No, I didn't even call him back. I had to listen 3 times to understand what this person was saying.
Yeah,
But
well-
anytime the IRS, they say IRS calls your house, you kind of like shake a little bit. Like,
I understand.
Why are they calling the house?
It is a
It's
scam.
insanity, no less.
It's a scam. It's a very effective scam. They give you a phone number to call back. When you call back the number, they answer the phone, Internal Revenue Service, and they ask you for your phone number. They know who it was that called you. They connect you to another bogus person who then shakes you down.
Yeah, and
But
if
the
you
area
give them
code
money.
was 214. They left a 214, which is a Texas number. I try to look it up, and I'm not seeing anything there.
Absolutely,
IRS.
absolutely a scam. The IRS writes you a letter. They do everything.
That's what I
They
thought.
correspond through the mail. And the only time you talk to an agent is once you are actively involved with an agent who would call you back. But they do not call and say, if you don't pay us $5,000 right now, we're going to come and arrest you. And that's pretty much what they do.
Especially on the Saturdays. So hopefully your listeners will benefit too that IRS will not call you.
Yep.
Chris is playing right now for you to hear a message he got.
444-0110.
And that-
Don't disregard this message and do return the call before we take any action against you.
Is that what
Doesn't
you
that
heard,
sound
Ray?
good?
No, it was the guy's name was Mr. Hoffman, something Hoffman. My number was 214-306-6063.
It's all a scam, right?
IRS does not call.
They don't call.
I wouldn't think so. I hope not.
They don't. They don't.
Okay.
Don't worry.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for calling.
And they don't
Bye-bye.
work on Saturday.
And I will tell you, it's so great when we get a call like this because there are so many people. This must be an effective scam
If it's
because they keep doing it.
perpetuated.
They've been doing it now, as far as I know, about 5 months,
Yeah.
6
Oh,
months.
I
longer.
know about a year.
yeah.
So if you're somebody that's getting a call from the IRS telling you we want your firstborn child and call us right back or we're going to come get you, it's absolutely a scam. So and again, that's what EG Tax is there for. You can call us at our corporate headquarters at 632-7886 and our email address, our website is egtax.com.
Yeah.
Okay?
And it's so sad. Chris had a client, and she actually gave them some money, and she is having a dog of a time trying to get it back. Right, Chris?
Yep. I mean, she bought gift card or the American Express cards where you could put money on them, gave them the numbers, and then she lost it, and the gift card people said, sorry, you lose. And, it's all up to the FBI. If they catch them, you might be able to get it back, but probably not.
Yeah, I'm sure they're offshore. I'm Esther Gulius, the tax lady, 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone. We're talking taxes. We're talking any tax or financial questions you might have. We're from EG Tax. We want to help you, and we're going back to the phones, and we're talking to Dave on a cell. Hey, Dave, how can we help you?
Hi, Esther. You know what? I'll give that guy my firstborn. I can't write him off no more. But I called you last week about investing my all my 401, my profit sharing, everything all into my 401 next year, and then possibly retiring and living off my income till I do
Right.
retire.
Right.
Okay. Let me ask. I didn't think about it till later on. I have Series E bonds that I'm going to have to cash sooner or later. Would I be better off, instead of withdrawing from the bank, withdrawing my savings, would I be better off cashing in them bonds since they're matured? There's nothing I can do with them no more. They've
All
been
right.
matured for years.
Now, as I recall, you said your wife works, right?
No, she don't.
All right. So if you and you guys are under the age of 65, right?
Right. I'll be 63. My wife's only going to be 54.
Okay, so you guys can make like $19,000 before you pay any taxes at all. So if you cash in those e-bonds and use the standard deduction and personal exemptions, you're going to be able to have, and that's the only income you're going to have to live on, correct?
Does your wife have a pension?
No, pardon?
Does your wife have a pension, Dave?
No, my wife don't work.
Okay.
All right, so this will be the only income that you have to live on, correct?
I'll have a pension coming in, and I'll be collecting Social Security.
All right, how much
But like-
is
but
your
like I said-
but
Oh,
how
I'm
much
sorry.
is your pension, Dave?
I think he's not getting it for a while.
pension's going to be around, I don't know, 25G.
All right. So if your pension's
25,
$25,000 and your Social Security's how much?
Total is going to probably, I'm guessing, around to be around 48,000.
All right. So your Social Security is going to be taxable, and your pension you're going to start taking right away, right?
At 63, correct.
All right. So that means when you retire, correct?
Correct.
All right. So then any bonds you cash in, you're going to have to pay taxes on the interest on the federal.
But not
Understandable.
So,
yeah,
but
like
it's
I
not
said,
better. But it's not better than taking money out of your bank account, because your bank account would be completely tax free. But the thing is, at some point in time, you have to withdraw that bond interest anyway. But how much are they paying you on the bonds?
They're done.
They're done.
They're done.
Oh well, then I would cash in those bonds.
Okay, because that's what I was wondering about.
But be careful, ladder it. So in other words, take X amount of bonds in 1 year, take X amount in the next year. You know,
that's what I was thinking. That's what I was wondering.
Yeah. But I think what you should do is call us at the office so we can go over it with you, okay?
Okay.
Thank you, Dave.
again.
All right, bye-bye. I'm Esther Gulius, the tax lady from EG Tax, 803-0930, 803-0930, star 930 on a cell phone. Love to hear what you have to say. We're talking taxes. We're talking college. We're talking shelters. We're talking letters. Anything that you have in the way of finances. We're going to take a short break for the news. We'll see you on the other side.
I like this song.
You know this song?
I like it. I've heard it many
We like
times.
this song, Tyler. What
Good.
is it?
That's the Congos.
The Congos. From...
They're from South Africa, I believe.
That's a good name then. Congos from South. I'm Esther Gulius, the tax lady. 803-0930, 803-0930, star 930, and it is raining.
It's raining outside.
I need it on my flowers.
Oh,
my flowers
well,
need some rain.
Chris and I need to work on our backyard, so we need it
Now
to
you
not
got a
rain.
reprieve.
No.
I'm Esther Gulius, the tax lady. 803-0930, 803-0930. If you have a call, question, concern, give Auntie Esther and the staff here a call, and we'll be happy to talk to you. And we're going to talk to John in Cheektowaga. Hey, John, how can we help you, sir?
Yes, Esther. You know what? I've got an employer that is contemplating going from a 1 week pay period to paying us every 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
We want to know what the advantages of are towards us, if any, and what are towards the employer, and what are the disadvantages for each.
Just from a cash flow standpoint, that's about the only benefit I could think of from an employer standpoint would be that he gets to sandbag an extra 7 days worth of income before paying you. But I can't think of any benefit. Can you, Chris?
And that's a really common question. I think that's asked a lot. I know that when people are getting a job, they'll say you're paid every week, and it's a benefit to the employees. And so now it's less.
Well, it's a benefit only because they have a short pay period.
Right.
But the employer still pays half of this 15.3%. They pay the same unemployment. The only difference is they have to come up with a bigger chunk every 2 weeks. And I can't think of anything else. If anybody else knows anything that I don't know, give me a call at 803-0930. But pretty much it's just that he gets or she gets to sandbag an extra week before she comes up with the money or he comes up with the money.
Okay, no real disadvantages for, let's say, if you have mortgages or any kind of other car payments and stuff that are due on a weekly or monthly basis.
Well, you have to learn how to budget a little. You have to learn how to budget a little differently, you know.
Yeah.
But then you get twice as much money, you know. But it's just a budgeting thing. It's just a tweaking of your finances, so to speak.
Okay.
I would wonder, is it cheaper for, like, if they use a payroll service?
It could be a cheaper
Well,
payroll.
it could be. That's true. Instead of doing four or five payrolls a month and having to pay a payroll service 4 or 5 payrolls, they only have to do it twice. That might be it's a small benefit.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
Okay, thank you very
much. Thanks, John. Bye-bye. I'm Esther Gulius, the tax lady, 803-0930, 803-0930, star 930 on a cell phone. And we're going to go to Doug in Ransomville. Hey, Doug. How can we help you, sir? Good.
Yeah, my mother-in-law passed away a couple of years ago, and we found some Series E bonds that she had in her name that my wife now has. What should we do about those?
Well,
And there was no TOD on it?
Nope.
You're probably going to have to go to the bank with the death certificate.
she is the heir, though, Doug?
Yes, she was a lonely child.
So that's what you'd have to do. You'd have to go and prove that you are, according to New York State or the will, that she inherited them, and then she would cash them in.
Does interest stop collecting when the person?
No, they always
until they're cashed in.
Because there's the time when they reach maturity. So I was
right, but as long as they haven't matured, when she cashes them in, she's going to end up having to pay the accumulated interest on those bonds.
Yeah, because I was wondering.
Unless your mother-in-law had paid it as she went, but very few people do
Very
that.
few.
I mean, there is an option where you can pay it as you go, but most people wait until they cash them
Because,
in.
Doug, was your question, should you cash them in and take the money, or was your question, how do you go about it?
Basically,
Both.
yeah, it's quite a substantial amount, and we don't want to hit by a giant tax.
Yeah, well,
liability.
how much money do you think collectively those bonds are worth, Doug?
About $300,000.
Oh my! Do you think though, Esther, since there was no time of death, TOD on it, that they're going to have to go to the estate?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Did anybody run this through New York State from an estate standpoint? Doug, did you just find these bonds?
We just came across them.
Wow.
And we knew she had them, and it's been 2 years, so the estate's already been settled at some point.
Yeah.
And we're just wondering, what do we do now, and how do we go about doing it?
I would go
We
to the
don't
attorney. I'd talk to your attorney first to make
Okay.
sure that, because this has to be combined with the rest of her estate.
And if you don't know a good one, we know one. Call us on Monday.
But then the other thing is they're just not going to roll over and give your wife $300,000 without proof that they're actually her bonds. So I would contact my attorney first. The next thing I would do is if she doesn't have to cash them in right away, right?
Like you said to the other guy, ladder.
Right. You might want to, if they're not mature, you might just want to wait.
They're all mature.
They're all mature?
Yep.
Oh, well then you're not getting any interest. So you just have to figure out how much the interest is going to be on those things. It'll be tax-free in New York State. These are U.S. savings bonds, right?
Yep.
So it'll be taxable on the federal, tax-free on the state. But in the year that you cash them in, that might be the year. Do you and your wife both work?
I was thinking of.
I work. She's retired.
How old is she?
She is 62.
All right. So what you might want to do in the year that you cash them in, if it might be this year, let's say that the interest is $200,000. Okay, then you might want to load up your 401k plan as much as you possibly can and put money into, oh no, she won't be able to do an IRA, but maybe a Roth she might want to do, So there's some tax strategies that you might want to do to mitigate some of the taxes that are going to be due on these things. So if you want to call us at the office, we can kind of tweak it with you. But the first thing, talk to the attorney because he might have to amend the estate return.
Okay.
Okay?
Sorry about your.
Well,
mom.
I mean, this is like a happy, sad thing, right?
It's a happy, sad thing because I don't want to pay any money.
I know, but if you want, I'll take the $300,000. I'll pay the taxes for you. But I mean, really, it's a real blessing. You guys want to make sure that you utilize that money as best as possible, and then call us, and we'll give you some strategies as to loading up your pension plan at work. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Doug.
And
I don't blame him for not wanting to pay taxes, but
yeah. And I was thinking Doug sounded really young, and I was thinking if they had children, it might be a year that they want to file married filing.
But if he's got a 62-year-old wife, he's
separate.
probably not
right.
quite that young.
But somebody who's listening who is younger and in the same situation, they might want to file married filing separate, so they still get the child tax credit. Is what I was thinking.
Yeah.
So there's different options out there.
I'm Esther Golias, the tax lady. 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone, and we're going to go to Dan in Tonawanda. Hey, Dan.
Hey, Esther, how you doing?
Good.
Back in '99, my father passed away, and my mother ended up getting cancer, so I felt bad for her, and I built a new home for her. It cost me about $500,000. I paid cash for it, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, the thing is I told my mother, you have to pay the tax on this. If I do this for you, I can't be paying for it. Well, just recently, I paid the last two years back taxes of $15,000. She's got $35,000 in credit card debt that she can't pay. She's got $35,000 that she owes to the IRS. They put a lien on one of her homes. It's not affiliated with me. But I put this house in her name and my name, and she put a house that she had in my name with her. My question is, because the IRS has a lien on the house, one of the houses, her house, I'm worried to come after me for one of my houses if she doesn't pay that. If something ever happened to her, God forbid. But she's got me in a big
All right. Well,
situation
first of all,
here.
this is a very complicated situation.
Yeah.
How old is your mom, Dad? Dan?
My mother's 75 years old now.
All right. So has anybody sat down and gone over her entire financial situation, exactly how much she owes, what her assets are, et cetera, et cetera?
Well, my mother, since my father passed away, is addicted to spending. She shops constantly. She buys the stupidest things. She's got 9 kids, and she shops for all the grandkids and buys them stuff that they don't need, okay? And she can't stop. We've tried to get her to stop. Since my dad's been gone, she has no... my dad was the financial guy, and I am too, but she won't sit down and reason with me or anybody else.
Well, I mean, you're really between a rock and a hard place because of your mother has to get it under control. But number one, do you know what her total liabilities are?
No, I don't. I know for a fact that I know that she also took a loan on the house. I let her. My cousin gave her a loan for $135,000 to clean her debt up. This was back in 2007. She put everything, consolidated everything, and got everything cleaned up, which was more manageable. But then she went right back into, more debt.
Okay.
More credit cards.
All right. I gotta take a short break right now. Can you hang on during the break, and then we'll talk in depth on the other side?
Okay, sounds good.
All right, good enough. I'm Esther Gulius, the tax lady from EG Tax, 8030930, 8030930. Star 930 on his cell phone and see how this saga happens to get unraveled on the other side. I like that one, too. Smashing Pumpkins. What is it?
It's Foster the People.
Foster the People. All right, I'm fostering the people. I'm Esther Gulius, the tax lady
you
from
are
EG.
Auntie Esther.
I'm Auntie Esther. From EG Tax, 8030930, 8030930, star 930 cell phone. Okay, so Dan has a problem. All right, first of all, Dan, the IRS cannot go after you to pay for her liability. Okay, because you didn't file a joint return with your mom, so you're not equally liable for her liability. That's number one. Number two, have you and your siblings thought of having an intervention with your mom?
Well, we've tried, but she just gets all upset, and then it seems like we get into an argument, and that's it. But I do understand that the IRS can't come after me personally, but what I want to know is, can they take part of my house?
They can. You have to understand, when you signed equally with your mom on an asset that they have liened, yes, it can. They can take it. Now, now the thing is, though, there is remedies. There's something called an offer and compromise and things of that nature, which we're very happy to help you with your mom. If she's willing to come in, maybe we as a third party might be able to talk to her about what she's doing. Otherwise, she's putting all of your assets that you're on half with her at risk. Dan, plus your siblings upon her death. Right. The IRS is going to swoop down, and with penalties and interest, it may be a very unpleasant situation. So if she wants to come in with you.
Where are you located at?
Well, our corporate headquarters is on Niagara Falls Boulevard. You're in Tonawanda. We're on Amherst side, so it's not far away. Okay.
Why does she owe the IRS, Dan?
She owes the IRS $35,000. I think she owes about $35,000 in credit cards right now.
Because of what? Why would she owe the IRS money?
What happened is she took money out there. My father had stocks, and she didn't pay the right amount for capital gains tax.
But I'll bet you that there was a basis in there, and when she did her return, the IRS, she didn't put the correct cost basis in there,
she took out 10%, but she should have took 20% out to cover that.
Was it in an IRA or a pension, or was it strictly stock?
What happened is my dad had, say $250,000 in life insurance policies, and he had stocks too. But she took that money and invested it, and it tanked. So I thought she shouldn't have to pay anything because she actually lost money on because it was less than when she put it in there. I'm not sure the exact amount.
Okay, but you see, Dan, if she didn't file a return and the IRS filed one for her, they would have just put the total sale price that she had with the stock and didn't put any cost basis. I mean, It's entirely possible she owes zero.
Okay, so we got to come see you.
I mean, that's what I would suggest, because I'll bet you if she didn't file a return and they filed one for her and there was a cost basis and there's a zero tax liability, they're assessing her and charging her penalty and interest on something she doesn't owe. So then when we have her in our hot little clutches, then we can say, Mom, come on, do you want to leave something for your children or not? You know.
Right. Well, I'm afraid of losing the house that I paid cash for that I put so much into.
Okay, so if we can get rid of the liability, then that frees up that asset. What I then would suggest you do is to take Mom's name off of those assets so that it doesn't happen again. And if she continues to run up her
right
debt...
now there's not a lien on it. There's only my cousin's got a lien on it because he gave her a loan for $135,000. But the IRS has got the lien on her house that's all by herself. She's got another home that she owns that's just her name on it, and that's the IRS has the lien on that home. That's what I was wondering. Can they put a lien on two homes?
They'll get money from wherever they have to get it, but it's my opinion that you have a very good possibility that she owes nothing.
Yeah, and Dan, if you owe money, you can amend years beyond the 3 years
and get rid of that liability. So go to Mom and say, hey, we just talked to Esther Goulias and Tiffany Fabian, Chris Fabian, and they think you might not owe the money. And if you just give us that first bill that she had gotten, then we can take a look at this and see if we can't just completely get rid of this entire liability.
Okay, I'll come in. I'll make an appointment. I'll try to get my mother in there, Esther. I really appreciate your help.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye. It's difficult.
Yeah, but
we old folks are hard to deal with.
But, you know, it's so funny. These are the things I love. I love helping people, and I know you do. And
I know. Well, Chris, what happened the other day? We had a sales tax thing.
Yep, just got the final word in it. It was all cleared. His current audit, past audit, all debt is gone.
So we had a client that had gone to another national firm, and they didn't mention that his business should have sales tax. He went and got the state audited him because he wasn't doing his sales tax. When I was doing his return this year, he mentioned, oh my gosh, I owe all this money. And I said, I bet you don't. Just like with Dan, I said, I bet you don't owe that money. We'll open the audit and we'll help you. And so that's what Chris did. He's been helping this gentleman, and hallelujah, right?
Amen.
Yeah. He's a happy guy.
And it makes us so happy to make people happy because it's like, you know, it's like a kid in a candy store. That's part of what we enjoy too. All right, other things we want to talk about today. And again, during the week, you can contact EG Tax at 632-7886. Our website is egtax.com. We have an Ask the Tax Lady link. You can ask me things at midnight. I get up and I answer you back because I'm a very light sleeper, and so when it goes boop boop boop, I get up and answer my email. But in between, Obamacare, people are paying for penalties that they don't have to pay for, right?
Right.
So if you're somebody that's gotten an Obamacare penalty, many of those penalties are incorrect, and many of them can be completely waived. So if you got a penalty for that, give EG Tax a call. And if you don't have health insurance, if you have a special situation, we can still get you health insurance, right?
That's right. Every Tuesday, Tim's in our office, and he's a navigator, and even if he's not there on Tuesday, come in and we'll help you.
All right. And then the other thing is, you know, Mike and Glenn were talking about capital gains and how Hillary wants to raise them, you know. But, you know, it's all of the capital assets that sell are taxed differently. Now, something that's short-term is taxed how?
Ordinary.
Right?
Yep, ordinary income.
So if you're in the 25% tax bracket and you have a long-term, you have a short-term gain, you're going to pay 25% taxes. But if you held it for more than 12 months, what happens to that if you're in the 15% bracket or lower?
You pay no tax.
Zippo, nada, nothing, right?
Correct.
So now, what if you're in the 25% bracket?
If you're in the 25% bracket or higher, you pay 15% on long-term capital gains.
Right, on long-term capital gains. So there's So if you would have paid 30% in your other income, but you have long-term capital gains, you only pay 15%. And if you're in the highest tax bracket, 39%, you pay 20%. Correct?
That's
Correct.
right.
But there's also a kicker if you have income over $250,000 or $500,000.
Then there's the extra
There's
Medicare
the
tax.
Medicare tax, right? But so it just goes to show you that different assets are taxed differently. Now, if it's a depreciable asset, in other words, like you had an apartment building, then that when you sell that, all the depreciation that you've claimed over the years comes back and is taxed again. And so everything that was straight line depreciation, if it's been held for more than a year, again is taxed.
As ordinary.
No, it'd be long-term capital gain.
Long-term. Okay,
right?
sorry.
And depending upon your tax bracket. If it was a depreciable asset on machinery and equipment, then when you sell it, the depreciation is recaptured as ordinary income up to the gain.
That's right.
So different things are taxed differently. And if you're somebody that's looking to get rid of your apartment complex or your rental properties, a way to get out of paying the taxes completely on a sale would be if you did what?
A 1031 exchange.
A 1031 exchange. So basically you take your property in Cheektowaga and you exchange it for property in Amherst, or you exchange it for property in Boynton Beach, Florida. And it's really not something that you do as the seller. That's something that you hire an exchanger to do. And
That's
it
right.
basically lets you defer the gain on the house that you're selling, or rental, or apartment complex, or business, until you finally get rid of the property that you exchanged for.
Pretty cool.
It is pretty cool.
Defer.
Right, and then die. That's
Right.
my whole game plan, is to defer, and then die. And then if you die, your heirs get a stepped-up basis, so that's even cooler, right?
Most definitely.
All right, I'm Esther Gulius, the tax lady. 8030930. 8030930 is our cell phone here in the studio. We got time for one more call. And the other thing is, during the week, if you need us, we're at 2475 Niagara Falls Boulevard in Amherst. Our hours of operation are 9 to 5 Monday through Friday. And our email address is egtax@hotmail.com. No, egtax.com. And the other thing is our tax school started.
It is. It starts in early October, and what an exciting way. You can take it online, or you can attend one of our 3 local classroom settings. And
Actually, I think we're going to have 5 classroom settings, aren't we?
Yep, we're looking to expand out to possibly in Grand Island and maybe a little bit
around
east.
in Warsaw.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep, and the classes are traditionally 9 to 12 or 6 to 9, whatever suits your schedule.
And an adult class. And the other thing I wanted to make sure, if anybody's interested, I had a client come in this week that said that they wanted to go on my bus in July next year when we go to March on Washington to let our voices be heard. So if you're interested in coming out with us on a bus to Washington for Reset 2016, where conservatives are going to go and march in front of Capitol Hill, you can also email me that, and we'll put your name on a list. All right?
That would be cool.
All right, until next week, I'm Esther Gulius, the tax lady, with Christopher Fabian, Tiffany Fabian. If you need us, we're here to help you. Until next week, have a great week. Bye-bye.